Brittany made herself small, a skill that she had honed over a decade. What was once a shaky cringe was now the art of the graceful arc, the curve of her back, her elbows pulled in close, her head bent, small, small, small. She wanted to be a hedgehog. She wanted to be a worm. She wanted to dig down deep in the loam and live a life there. She was eligible for a free breakfast, and as much as she wanted to avoid the crowded cafeteria, she needed to eat. So she piled food on her tray and hid in the corner, drawing horses and chewing a rubbery bear claw. She started with the ears, always the ears. That's where horses started communicating. Forward in curiosity, back in anger, flopping gently when they were calm. She was obsessed with their ears. She was obsessed with the idea that she might be able to understand, to communicate with them. She wanted to understand them like Mrs. Agatha did, like Roz did. Next came the neck, the head, the chest. The legs were hard, and they were always a little too long or too short. She took extra care with the tails, picturing long, flowing, beautiful hair that she would lovingly pull burrs out of, brush gently, braid perfectly, beautifully straight. "You smell like dirt," someone said to her. She looked up, blinking through the fugue of her art. "What?" she said, but she was quickly realizing it was too late. It didn't matter what she said, because this boy wasn't actually trying to communicate with her. He was trying to hurt her. "You smell like dirt and piss." There were 3 of them, dressed like her brother dressed, in plaid over sports t-shirts. 2 of them had matching sets of smattering freckles and the same lank brown hair. "What are you drawing?" the smallest boy said, and his voice sounded almost kind, as if he was genuinely curious. "Horses," Brittany said, because some part of her mind wouldn't let her be rude enough to ignore them. "You fuck horses?" the first boy said. She blinked rapidly at him. It's not like no one had said something like this to her before. There seemed to be some obsession with sexualizing her. Since she was old enough to understand human speech, it seemed like there was someone reminding her that there was a hole between her legs and people who wanted at it. Or that she should want at it, or that she should want to put things inside it. She never knew how to respond to that. It seemed like a madness shared by the whole world, but excluding her. "That's why you like them so much, right? Got those big dicks?" Her mouth hung open, but she didn't cry. His eyes darkened. He lunged for her hand and crushed her fingers around her pen for a moment, yanking it free. She squeaked in pain and then in horror as he pressed the pen hard enough to break the paper, and then, in a confident stroke, added a penis to the sketched horse. The 2 boys behind him burst into laughter as he threw the pen at her feet. Brittany felt the tears coming and hated them and hated the boys, and something deep in the loam called to that feeling, like a bird calls to its flock. There was a click like a key in a lock. "I'm gonna tell the forest about you," she whispered. "What?" the boy said, a joke in his voice. She looked up into his eyes, her fury blotting out the room. She could barely hear herself. How dare she? How dare she speak up and make herself big again? Crawl out of the mushrooms and pine needles and stare up at the hunting owl? The violence would come now, she was sure of it. But something was building in her, a wave. It was a wave made of fury that wasn't just hers. "Whatever," he said, and the 2 other boys, sensing weakness, laughed in a way that showed too many teeth. They left her, and the world changed, just a little. That was chapter 13, from the perspective of Brittany. I am Brittany. As a preteen who developed early, I had boobs and hips, before most of the girls in my school. I know what it feels like to be taunted like this, to want to make yourself small. Every single snap of my training bra, every single snicker at how they could see the bra through my white schoolgirl shirt. Yeah, I wanted to crawl into the earth and be like a worm too. God, I wish that that girl had been aware of her power. I wish that that girl had known that she could call on the forest too. Chapter 13 was the moment for me with the Unmothers, where I knew there is no turning back.